Hello, hi, welcome back to more live game development on Sons of Soul. We are in the Unity engine, and we're back after another 10-day break. That's, I think, in the last 6 or 7 weeks I've been away for 3 of them. So apologies if you were trying to follow along live, but I'm back now. I've no more trips planned for the year. I'll go somewhere, but just within the country, most likely. Something short. Visit family, that kind of thing. But there's nothing on the calendar that should prevent me from getting back to Mondays and Thursdays from now on. So sorry about the turbulent times. Wearing a hat right now because I got a Gear VR headset and a phone delivered in the last few days, and got the headset a week ago, but only got the phone today. So just trying that out today, and I got a massive big red streak on my forehead from the where the headset sits on your forehead. So that's a bit silly. Anyway, did I do that? I haven't been in the Unity engine since I came back. Which makes it about a week, 8 days. So anyway, I do remember this. Last time we were fixed a text bug on the radial orders where your last order kind of showed up the next time you brought up the menu. Because it hadn't cleared the text as part of clearing the screen. And we ditched the first screen where it would say, hey, do you want to talk to your wingman or talk to support powers? We kind of ditched that and just let it be the wingman because we don't have support powers yet, and we can put support powers on another button and just simplify that menu. Simple movement functions to the sprite animator script. Yes, I've done that. That was a sprite renderer and the sprite animator. Where's this? I have to make it visible. Not that visible. Sure. No, actually. This. Alright, so we had that. So the thing I've added is a section in here for transform animation. So if the mouse enters and exits, could play on enable either, but say when the mouse enters it, so I think it'll need a collider for that. Yeah, make a trigger, though I don't think it has to be a trigger. Just habit of mine. Transform animation, what's that? Only plays once. Oh yeah, so in this case I don't want that. So it's going to slide make it 5 units to the right in half a second and up, let's say. This is a bad scene for it. Go to the test scene. Copied it there, just paste it back in. Let's see, I think there was a problem with this the last time I was checking. Let's see if it's working now. Mute the audio as well. Right, so it wasn't doing it. Oh yes, I think this rings a bell now. It's the last thing we were doing when we left was that didn't work. But I've been away almost since then, so okay. Let's write that down as a bug, but I'll fix it later because we've already kind of essentially it looks like it's not detecting the mouse going into that circle. I'm just gonna say sprite animator not detecting mouse in on transform animations, because it also has there are already things that I did like on mouse enter. In fact, we can test that. On mouse enter event, let's just say it destroys this or sets it in game object. This is my script if anyone's just coming at it for the first time. So it's like a bypass. It's a sprite animator script that I wrote to bypass the Unity animator if you just want to do something simple. But it's kind of a work in progress. So let's just test that by saying if the mouse moves inside that moon, it'll disappear. Alright, so it's not detecting the mouse enter. Oh, no, it's on the right type. So it used to detect them, definitely. We've seen it before. So it might just be that I got rid of a line I shouldn't have or something. So that won't be too interesting to fix. Let's just assume it works as it meant to, and it will next time. Excuse me. I'll fix it kind of off camera. Looks like I'm a little too high. Too high in the picture? I don't know. Leave it there. Since last time, normally I say how much stuff I've done in the engine since then. I've done nothing in the engine. I've been to London to the BAFTA Guru conferences, a series of talks on film, TV, and games. And then I've been, since I got back on Monday, I've been doing on paper game design, like paper prototyping. Trying to write down and play out the rules of the strategy layer without code. Theoretically, you can do it faster. I work kind of well with code, and I like it, and I hate cutting up paper and cardboard and writing cards. But it's meant to be a faster way to prototype. We'll see. It's the first time I've tried to paper prototype anything kind of big. Super Tim on YouTube asks, what is Sons of Saul about? It is a 2D space shooter, top-down. That's kind of like Asteroids, the original game, built out into more of a Wing Commander experience with a dynamic campaign. Well, not a dynamic campaign, a procedural missions and a dynamic strategy layer. It's a better way to say that. Something like an XCOM strategy layer. There's wingmen, smart AI kind of things, and it's not in a box. In fact, I'll just play it for a moment. I'm not sure what's in this test scene right here, but I'm not sure if it's going to spawn enemies on me or not. Spawning asteroids anyway, so I'm the lead ship here. I've got my wingman. I can order them to do things. Other things. Blow up asteroids, crash into them. And there are enemies. Can I spawn them? Yes, I do have a hotkey to spawn enemies. There's a demo available at the moment on sonsofsaul.com. And you can play the sort of 10-minute flavor demo. There's dogfighting, there's asteroid dodging, there's a bit of story. All in this kind of sample demo. If you would like to experience more of it. Super Tim says it sounds unique. Yep, totally unique. That's fairly unique. There's no. Try to avoid it being the same as other things, so that it has a chance to actually sell. So it's not a trading game, it's not a MMO, and it's not a dual stick shooter. It's just a single player 90s style game, even though it's 2D, but it's very much in that vein. And cool, he says. Thank you. I'm glad you think it's cool. Do feel free to play the demo. There's a feedback form in the demo. I'll receive anything you have to say, and I'll be very appreciative for its opinions. Oh, and hello to the other YouTube viewer whose name I can't pronounce, but he says hi. I came back, and I do remember talking to you the last time with the proper alphabet word. Sorry, it's escaping me now. The Arabic alphabet. So I can't read your name. Sorry, but. Yes, but you're back, and thank you very much for coming back. So what we were going to do today anyway was look at destroying the shuttle with the particle system. I figured I would do it before we got back. Then I wound up wanting to save it up for today. So let's see how we do with that. I'm going to get rid of other guys. So it's just me and this shuttle. I put a hotkey in, I think it was H if I remember correctly, to kill that shuttle. Yeah, okay. So let's take a look at that again. Maximize. So, this doesn't look perfect. When it dies, it kind of instantly swaps sprite into a destroyed sprite, and you can see quite clearly that it just happens instantly. It's not gamey. It's not too bad, but we can do better. We've got a debris system now that we can add to this. So we need to make a new particle system. Actually, I'm going to, maybe rather than do it from scratch, I'm going to take an explosion we have because it's sort of there already, and then just sort of modify this other explosion. See about this. All right, so if we get a particle system in here, and it's a copy of the explosion, but we're going to change that. Take away the audio because the explosion itself does audio, and this is just going to throw off some debris. The debris is silent relative to the explosion. It's in space, it's all silent. I'm just describing what we want. We want the explosion to make noise and the debris to just be there. So I'm going to remove the audio. This is a script that deactivates the particle system after it's kind of done. Although I don't want that in this case. There's two ways to do this. Let's first look at, let me make it clear what we're doing. So we have a sprite sheet of Super Tim asks, how did I learn to use Unity and programming? Unity is the answer. Like totally self-taught, but when I say self, I kind of mean Unity tutorials, YouTube tutorials, watching other people do what I'm basically doing right now. Very first one I did was Unity's roll a ball tutorial, and then Unity's space shooter tutorial, and now there's another beginner tutorial, 2D world or something like that. I haven't done that, but that's a very good beginner one as well if you want to start there. Goodbye to you. Before you go, can you tell me your name again? I've forgotten. Like, if you could spell it in the English characters, Latin characters. Yeah, I wanted to say goodbye, and then it's like, oh, I can't remember your name. It's been a couple of months, I guess, since you did type it into the chat in a way that I could pronounce or read. I presume YouTube is displaying the Arabic, backward, right to left instead of left to right. Seems like something Google should be able to get right. But I guess I should never assume that people are getting other cultures correct, and I'm not doing a great job at it here, but at least I know it's right to left. I just can't. What the characters are. Let's see. So this is our sprite sheet. There's debris on it. The general gray stuff is fine. The yellow stuff means it's obviously getting blown off a EMC ship, like a player ship or the shuttle that's on your team. One of these. So there's two things we can do is make all of these into tiny little game objects and blow them off, which does mean we can. Let's see, let's edit the moves. Here's one thing we have to do in here. It would mean that we can do sort of deactivate each object. Like making new game objects for each little part of the explosion is a lot of sort of memory work that it has to do. But we can remove them as they sort of go out of the screen. And if I have it so that if you kind of follow a piece of debris, it won't disappear, but after it's been out of the screen for 8 seconds and doesn't come back onto the screen, that's when it disappears. So that'll be efficient enough. I have to set this to multiple. Where is it in? Multiple should be 4. We've gone to bilinear. We weren't really compressing. As far as I recall, that was our policy. 40 high, so fine. Apply that, and now I can up this sprite sheet up a bit. Slice by cell count. I think they're equal size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think that's equal sizes. 12 rows. Okay. One thing to prevent this from looking weird, actually, it should be largely okay, but you want the pivot to be on the center of gravity, roughly, for each one. Otherwise, when it spins, it'll look like it's behaving weirdly. To your eye, you'd be like, there's something wrong there. Like it spins around a different center of access, like not like a boomerang. A boomerang still spins around its own center of gravity. Just happens to be outside of the object itself, but it will look wrong. If this was curved, I would, yeah, center of gravity there, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it so that they all spin somewhat believably. Like you're not going to pay too close attention, but it would look wrong. Need a secondary explosion on this. This is actually two explosions together, right? I can only kind of show one at a time in the preview mode, but one goes and the other one kind of comes in after. So what do we want? Duration. Yeah, here I was just saying about how we can make them all into different objects and spawn them off, or we can make the particle system and just not really disappear them. There are kind of finer, those are the two base approaches. There are kind of finer points I could do with each of them, but oh wait, sorry, the duration. I think I need the duration. What I meant to make really high was the lifetime there. You just make it too high, it'll give you its max number. I think 10 million or 10 million. How many zeros? That's 100,000 seconds. So that's 1,666 minutes, 27 hours. So if anyone plays for that long straight and follows a piece of debris for that long straight, they will see it disappear and they'll be so disappointed. But at that stage, they'll have 27 hours in the game and they won't be able to refund. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Start speed. Alright, so I want the start speed. I don't want them all to go off at the same speed. I want it to go random between two constants, I guess. Start speed of just throw out 3 and 6. Start size, just going to be the size it's meant to be. Rotation. Randomized rotation. Yeah, I guess one is a randomized rotation. Start color, yeah, white just means it's going to be normal. Gravity modifier, no. World space. I don't think that'll matter because we're not parenting it to the ship. Play on awake, yes. Max particles, fine. Or max particles is only going to be 12 or something. Or however many I said were there. Auto random. Yes. Let's see how it is with a single burst. Alright, so how many particles are we spinning out of it? How many did I say there was? 12. Make 12 every time and see what it's like. We can add variety later. It's kind of easier to just have a constant one. In a image in a sphere might be okay. Basically, do you want it to come up towards the camera and away from? No, I'll make it a circle. because I don't want it to go down through the ship. Because they'll always spawn on top of the ship, and I don't want it to go penetrating down through it and effectively disappearing. I also don't want to bother turning on physics to prevent that. Yeah. 0.5 maybe, just a small kind of start area. We're all okay. Limit velocity over lifetime. Don't want that. I did use it on the explosion to try to keep it all together. I don't know, it's just something, it's a tweak I put in, but until I need tweaks I won't change it. I'm not going to change the size over lifetime, which you do with flames. Remember, I'm kind of modifying an explosion here. Texture sheet animation, that's the whole key. So we have 1 by 12. That's the size of the sheet. I'm going to animate single, or animate the whole sheet. No, wait, sorry. This is sort of a trick. This is designed so that if you had more at this one, you'd be like, okay, pick this row, and then for a single particle, swap between this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and like a sprite sheet animation. But if you give it only one cell, it just goes like, okay, play the first one, now play the first one, now play the first one. Well, I don't think what it does, but it just plays the first one and knows there are no others. Probably how they're doing it. So you pretty much say, hey, pick a random row for this particle and now play all sprites in that row, which is going to be only the first one. And that effectively means you can have, from a single sprite sheet, a lot of variety. We're doing it with the asteroids in the background at the moment. So, right. That looks wrong. Right. Fix that. Frame over time. Start frame 0 cycle. Right. So what have I done? Was it 12 in the, no, it's 1 in the X, 12 in the Y. Animation of row, I think. See what I want? Oh. Row. You want the random row. A random cell of it, I think. Value between 0 and 1. Doing exactly. Oh, for one thing, we're on the wrong sprite sheet. That's so the sprite sheet itself actually goes into the renderer. This threads 3 particle sheet yellow. So right. Have to set it awkward. I think awkwardly, I have to set it to standard so that I can drag in the one I want. Where did it go? And where was that? Right. Oh, here it's loose. So now we've got the correct sprite sheet. Set it back from a standard shader into default sprites. You can't drag a sprite in here. You have to sort of trick it. I want it to be a default sprite, but I wasn't able to tell it what sprite it should be. If anyone knows any better than me, tell me, but I mean, you can't drag anything in here, you can't select any sprites here. So that's how I managed to get it done. That weirdness is still happening. Oh yeah, because we haven't changed the material. Now we're going to change the material that it's playing for its 3 particle sheet. Again. Alright, that's essentially it. So we want those things to rotate. They're also going a bit too fast. Maybe a sphere wouldn't be the worst idea. I think they're bigger. They seem too big. Maybe he drew them at 120. Did I apply that? Why is the size not being affected? Oh, I'm changing the start life. No, I'm not. What am I doing? Pixels per unit on ship shuttle debris. That not changing. Hmm. How many pixels wide is 20 pixels wide? Guessing he was. Well, he didn't really. We've been working at. We're working at. In a while since I checked. We're working at 128 generally. No, the asteroids are at 64, but the rest I think was all at 128, so we changed that. Any art in use is at 128. It's odd now that when I change. Don't want. Of course. So sprite itself will respond to that. But the particle system doesn't exactly, because this particle system size can get set by the particle system. Size. It should just be 1 and 1 though. Size over lifetime that we're changing. You. Particle rotator. Did I have that for again? Oh yeah, I think this do the thing. Yeah, okay. I remember now. I was thinking, yeah, we have to set the rotation in here, but no, that's just kind of the starting rotation, not the like rate of rotation. Yeah, particles don't actually rotate. You put this on, but they're not rotating. Oh. Oh, they really got big. The hell? When did that happen? Going on there? Very strange stuff happening today. Very little of it, I think, is to do with me forgetting how I did the last one. Just that rotation part. When did that happen? Should be on Z of 0. Yeah. In the right place. At what stage did they get that big? Because we were testing them for ages there and they stayed small. Back down to being 64. The size of them should be okay. Here's they're just rendering either too high, like too close to the camera, so they're right next to it every time, or rendering too large. The size is 1. I don't need that one. Why they've gotten so huge all of a sudden? A little weird. Those Unity. I don't think that'll make a difference, but the odd time. Still haven't figured out how to bring that solution window back up by default. Auto develop made it start on solution view by default. I want it on debug view by default, and it used to be, now it's not. And I can't find in settings where to, if you can choose which one. No chat in Watch Me Work. Never really is. Still streaming there, but because they're like a startup company, they're not big or anything, and it's a neat enough kind of idea. But I have to check it separately from Restream. Never been any chat there unless it was the owner come by to say thanks for streaming today. There is on other channels. I think I stream kind of at weird times for them. Here's OBS. They're like, hey, it'd be best if you stream at these times because our viewers are mostly in the US and they watch at these times. I'm like, I'm in Ireland. Those times don't work for me, so I'm just gonna stream and see what happens. Right, let's try that particle again. Oh, That's no good. Where are they in a 3D sense? Yeah, they're gigantic. This is in a 3D view. Here's the shuttle down here. Anyway, the fact that it's moving so slowly shows kind of how big it is. So, wrong with the material. Inevitably, you always wind up sorting out a problem that you didn't foresee. Isn't one of the ones I foresaw. No scale on that. Didn't think there was, but it could have been comprehensive. There's not a whole lot of options we have on, so there's not a whole lot we have to check, but start size 1 and 1. Code. Wake, yeah, max. I don't know. No need to change that. Shouldn't be to do with the shape of it. But they might have been closer to the camera, but no, they actually seem to be giant instead of. What's going on? Gone through all the options that we have on, and we're down as far as billboard without found it. Billboard, isn't it? Horizontal. Doesn't solve the problem either, though it did change the scale. Kind of meshed the whole thing onto a cube. Renderer mode, well then we'll have nothing if it's none, right? None is no good. The billboard is the normal one. Yeah, 1 is fine for that. Sort by. This is normal. Min particle size 1. Half that and see what happens. Good. Happened here. Drag in the other explosion and see if it's also screwed up. Buzz. You know, it's fine. Size between 0.2 and 1. Renderer. Particle size of 0 is the only actual difference I can see. Oh. Minimum particle size of 0 was the answer. I would have thought that meant it was 0 scale, which is basically invisible. Max particle scale. The description on this. How small is it allowed to be on screen at least? Oh, okay, yeah. 0 is, yeah, tiny. 1 is the entire viewport because it's a... I'd set it to 1, so it was set to fill the viewport. That's what I did. I was thinking of it in terms of unity cubes. So the ship is about a 1 unity meter large, entire ship. So I was thinking... No, actually, sorry. What I was thinking was that the minimum size it'll be is the size it was drawn at if you set it to 1, rather than being half or anything else. But yeah, okay, that was the problem. Don't change min particle size. Sorry, now we can look at it properly. Now I want them to rotate. Yeah, the particle rotator, what it does is just rotate them out from... It doesn't give it a constant rotation. It gives it a... sort of rotates out from the center. So on enable it thing. Waits 1 frame, or no, probably 0.1 of a second. And then it realizes how far out it is from the center and sort of points... Because there's a leading edge, it's like an explosion with a leading edge that's kind of whiter, so it sort of wants that to be on the outside of the explosion, or if it's going that way, it wants it to be here. So it has to rotate the particle based on which direction the particle is coming from. But it just sets it to a rotation and then leaves it. I'm looking to have those particles rotate. Yeah, no, that should be fun because I do it with the asteroids particles. So check out the Yield prefab has a particle system, and yeah, they all do rotate, don't they? Yeah, like see that one's rotating, that one's rotating. There's nothing weird making it rotate. No. Yeah, rotation over lifetime. That's what I wanted. Okay. All right, we're back on track. Rotation over lifetime. Random. Okay. What was it on this? Between two constants. Angular velocity. Different on this? No, not separate. Yeah, don't separate the axes. Okay, so how violent a spin should it have? Minus 90 means it might go left, 90 means it might go right at a maximum turn of quarter turn every second. It'll take 4 turns to spin. See what this looks like. Some of them are... the problem is being between minus 180 and 180. The average is 0, which means it doesn't spin at all, so... And let's just widen it so that more often they're... Yeah, that looks okay. Anything I think particles are too big, but... yeah, that's okay. for now. The speed of it's a bit much. I tweak that a bit. Start speed. Figure out if it's constant. I can figure out more easily what the max speed I want is. So that's probably 4 is probably the fastest I want it at all. Actually, slowest I might want is probably 0.5 or something. Between 0.5 and 0.3 or 3.5. Happy. Looks okay. So I have a few issues here. One is that in this particle system we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yellow chunks blowing off. Then we've 4 again. I mean, they look averagely a bit the same, but like that's 6 big yellow panels coming off a ship that doesn't even hold that many. So one issue with this is that it's picking a random row in the animation. Sheet animation. Random row. But if I don't pick a random row, it's always going to be the first one, I think. That's no good. And I pick all rows. What I really want to do is just pick each row once. Kind of what I want. UV channels does matter. Yep. Okay. Don't don't change that to nothing anyway. If you want the sprite sheet animation particle sheet work. I can set the start frame to be a different frame, but I think that'll always suck. It's always the same. Oh yeah, sorry, start frame of a single row, and we only have one. So no, that doesn't matter. No, that's not. Alright, so we pretty much have to randomize this, which means to prevent there being too many yellow bits in. I'd like a debris cloud that can always count on to be this gray chunk. That looks okay, except for when you get too much yellow in it. So you're gonna need a sprite sheet where the yellow isn't in it. I can do that easily. The yellow ones are in the middle of the sprite sheet. And I'm gonna cut them out. Can't just drag and drop them. I think I'll go to what I'll do is I'll go to Fred and say, I need one that's just grey, and he'll give them exactly 20 by 20 Because even if I drag them off a little bit, I might lose a pixel at the top or the bottom. There's no point getting into it. I just kind of need a re-export. And a separate one for yellows, and then maybe a separate one for pirate colored stuff. So instead of spawning one particle system, we'll just spawn one for junk debris and one for yellow debris. But so this will be two different systems coming off at the same time, but with the yellow one, we can force it to be less, and maximum particles is just 3 or something. So that we don't wind up with an explosion that, like, because here we could have an explosion that's all yellow pieces. Wouldn't look that great, I think. Now this hasn't changing, right? So I can't change the scale of that here. Bit annoying because they seem a bit blurrier. Pause. That's clearly blurrier than this is. Not sure of the scale that they're meant to be at, but I'm also having no effect by adjusting the scale. I thought it'd be fine because I'm not actually changing the size of them. Size of the particles. Actually, I think they're all about the same size as the player ship. So when the start size is 1, they're actually all pretty much 1 unity meter, and there's alpha around them. So okay, start size of 1 means they are actually, it's not 1.0 of the original size. It's actually just grow it or shrink it to be 1. So I want it to be more like 0.5, I'd say. Yeah, that feels more like it's the right size. Though I'd be better off asking Fred, hey, what scale is this meant to be relative to the size of the player ship? But in terms of resolution, that looks much better. Not stretched and blurred. So, that's a particle debris yellow for now. As I said, I'll take it out. It'll be a particle debris gray later. So I'm going to want to object pool that explosion because we're going to use a lot of it. So in our tools we have an object pooler. So there's all these object pools that we have: asteroids, asteroid explosions, other explosions, mini explosions. For now, call it a debris yellow pooler, and its object is going to be particle debris yellow, and it'll pool a maximum of, it'll grow, so it's okay. This is a script that Unity have in one of their tutorials, I think. Only adjusted it very little. I won't go too into it, but essentially anything like bullets, you don't want to enable and destroy a bullet for every time you're shooting. You just want to kind of turn off an old one and then put its position to be where your gun barrel is, and turn it on and let it go again. So you're recycling instead of burning through memory, basically. So that's object pooling, and there's no one in chat at the minute to actually inquire further on that, so I'm just gonna leave it at that's object pooling. Tools script is responsible for kind of spawning all those types of explosions. I need another public object pooler script. Gonna be debris script. What are we calling it? Specifically, since I'm searching by string, gotta spell it exactly right in this case. And it won't let me copy. Sometimes MonoDevelop won't let you paste in. Very annoying. Here you go, rebuild all. The way around it, rebuild all, close, reopen. Super Tim says, can I show him a gameplay video? I can play it. Does that count? I can also, the trailer we have is also a gameplay trailer, basically. Well, it's mostly gameplay. Go to sonsofsoul.com. Then just click through to the website. The trailer is on the page, or find us on Steam Greenlight. We passed Greenlight, so I'm not trying to get your vote or anything, but it's game trailer is there, and that's gameplay. Best thing you can do is play the demo. It's only 10 minutes long. If you want to feel what the gameplay is like, because it honestly it feels different to other games because it controls like the classic Asteroids, not like a dual stick shooter. So it's honestly a different feeling game to a lot of games. So it's worth getting hands on to get the gameplay, if you know what I mean. So, but I gave you a bunch of options there. If you want me, if one of them is the one where you want me to play it, I might play it for a minute or two here. I don't really mind that. But if you fancy playing the demo yourself, feel free. On debris cloud. I've just copy pasted this spawn explosion. Mostly going to be the same, but the loaded object is going to be the debris pooler script. I'm repeating more code than I need to. I don't really need to repeat some of these. I think. No audio source on it, so I don't need to play that. Yeah, okay, so Super Tim says the game looks interesting but doesn't really have a fully functional PC. If it functions at all, it'll run. I mean, I have a terrible laptop that it runs perfectly on. It'll probably run on a wristwatch. Not very demanding. If you've got a keyboard, you don't even need a mouse. The mouse will get you into the level, but it's played fully on the keyboard, or if you got a gamepad, it's much nicer on the gamepad, but it works just fine on the keyboard. Doesn't require a graphics card because I know that because my laptop doesn't have one, and it runs fine. But it's got like an integrated Intel graphics card CPU, as far as I recall. Not my laptop; it's just the one I test on. Oh, what was I doing? What was I doing? I remember go to the health script on the shuttle and just spawn that debris cloud. It'll still take tweaking, but this is going to be a big step towards making it look right. Death. So that's where we spawn the actual explosion, and we're going to spawn debris cloud as well with this game object. I guess I don't need to say this dot game object. Game object. It is here. That's the second condition actually, where so we'd spawn it pretty much, you know, here plus, you know, a little off center and a little closer to the camera actually. And does it inherit velocity of the shuttle as it was moving? It usually moves slowly, but for now I'm going to say true. Random inside unit circle is just going to be our little offset. And then bring it up a little bit just so to be sure that it sits above the shuttle rather than below it, because if it's below it you won't see it's getting blown off until they're outside of it and it'll look a bit wrong. Not that. That'll probably complain that that's a vector 3 and a vector. I just have to cast that as a vector 3 even though it's vector 2. Shouldn't complain at me. How long do I expect to be making this game for? The rest of my life, feels like. What it says at the moment is we're aiming to finish it by the end of the year and release it in the first quarter of next year. I'm going to say finish it by the end of the year. I mean, yeah, it works, but start dealing with you know, porting or getting marketing ready or bug fixes. Want to release it early next year, first quarter, you know. We'll see if we make that, because the last few months have felt very slow. But there's kind of good reasons behind that. Though I don't know if some of the reasons that it became slow, if some of those reasons are out of the way, fine, and then some of them aren't. So I don't know. It remains to be seen how slower we're going to be, or if the current slow rate will be the rate going forward, because we did great work between September and January. Did a lot, and then the last few months have been slower. So I'd like to get back to that original rate of stuff. Anyway, let me kill this shuttle, and we should now see debris and fire explosions. Yeah, so we do, but it got. Where's that explosion? Debris 0.5, okay, but I think it set itself off after 2 seconds. Yeah, it did, so I don't want that on it anymore. Did I come up with the idea? was essentially the dodging mechanic. I told you earlier that I learned Unity's space shooter tutorial on like my second day of teaching myself stuff, and then after I was done with that 2-day kind of tutorial, it's just like, oh, okay, I wonder how I can mod this, and I kind of put in a roll like this onto the ship, and I let it make you invincible for anything that was about to hit you, just for a second. And so that was in Unity's space shooter tutorial, but it was fun. I was like, that's a nice mechanic. Then, you know, months went by and I made lots of other little games and taught myself stuff. It's actually, okay, if I want to make a real game now that I know how, after a while, I said, what, of all the prototypes and stuff I've built, what would I like to go back to? And this simple dodge mechanic, and then in the space shooter tutorial, you're just flying up the screen the whole time. You just go left and right. But essentially, I was like, that mechanic was kind of fun. If I built Asteroids, basically, the original game, very easy. And one of the people I watched on YouTube had a simple video where he built Asteroids in a few episodes. Like the classic Asteroids. And I love playing Asteroids. Just every few months I'll go back and play a few rounds in a web browser. You can always find it. It's like, this seems easy enough. You don't have to deal with pathfinding. There might not be too much AI, though now I'm really focusing on AI, but you know, there's no pathfinding. Being top down, I didn't have to 3D model a lot of things. And I didn't know how to 3D model either, but I'm also just a bad kind of artist, whether it's 2D or 3D. So basically I thought I'd be quite manageable for my skills to start making a 2D space game from top down. And that the mechanics of Asteroids, along with this dodge, were actually a lot of fun. That's where the idea came from, and what I wanted to do with it was, like, the first games I remember really getting into were like X-Wing, TIE Fighter in the 90s. I was like, there hasn't been a game like that I've really loved since 1999, X-Wing Alliance. There have been lots of good ones, but some of the feel that I wanted from a space game kind of has been lost, and I thought I'm going to try remake that feel in this with these mechanics. See if I get there, but it seemed something quite manageable to do, relatively. What is that pod-like thing? Pod-like? I'm guessing you're referring to this. If you're referring to this, that's a planet. That's also a planet. This is a shuttle. So it's, you know, you're a starfighter, it's a shuttle, so it's slower, but it might carry boarding troops or torpedoes, that kind of thing. Let's maximize this again. Get a good look at it blowing up a few times. Pretty good. It's a lot better than it was. Still got that problem of kind of, well, it's not so much a problem anymore. The instant sprite swap, right? The instant sprite swap was a problem. But since it instantly sprite swaps to this default to destroyed, but you also instantly get the debris, it's pretty much okay that it's blowing up instantly, because it's also going apart instantly. The one thing I'm seeing is that the explode might be setting it a little bit too far out. Like sometimes it's a little too far from the core of the ship. Super Tim says it seems a lot smoother now. I agree that pretty much looks, I'd say it's like 95% of the way there. I think we could improve on this. As I said, it's still got that problem where we might every time it happens, we might wind up with all yellow parts, which will look like too much yellow. It's a lot of yellow that time. Didn't look too bad, but we could get all yellow parts and that'll be wrong. Plus I can't use it on enemy ships because it's all yellow. And the grey is mixed in with the yellow. What I really want to do is just get grey explosions that I can use on everyone. And then yellow if I'm killing yellow and blue if I'm killing blue. This looks... happy with that. Pretty good stuff. Just trying to, like, because there's a lot of randomness to where the explosion starts and how the red parts of the explosion come up and where the debris, how fast it goes and which way the shuttle spins. There's a lot of variable parts, which is why I'm doing it so many times. Just to see if it feels good every time or if sort of half the time it feels wrong, but pretty fine by me. One thing is that the rear left chunk always coming out that rear left section chunked, and the rear right is intact, and it's the same way every time. But I could swap it horizontally randomly. I think I might just add one random element to this. So here is where it sort of sets to the assault shuttle destroyed sprite. There's a simple checkbox in the sprite renderer for flip X. So right now you're just going to see like the shading change a little bit there because it's pretty much the same left and right, just where the highlight is. But it would be if I flip that on the destroyed version. Flip X. Now, I don't want to say it's true or it's false. I want to make it random each time. Random.range from 0 to 2. The way it works is it'll pick 0 or 1, but it doesn't include the highest number unless you're using floats. But as integers, that'll pick either 0 or 1. If I say random range is equal to 1, then true, and else false. This is a handy line of code for I'm setting this equal to, and then you're like, wait a sec, actually what am I setting it to? This, and if that, yes, then, but if not, then this. A handy way to just get it done on one line. So I'm just checking, is the random range 0 or 1? Is this random number 0 or 1 1? Question mark. If yes, then true. And if not, then no. And that's a 50-50 flip X there. I'll say 50% of the time. Let's just check that that's working as intended, but why not make flames come out of the ship? Yeah. That didn't flip X. Didn't flip X. That did flip X. Okay, there we go. Now it's kind of, the chunk is out of the other side, so that's, for one line of code, we're going to get a bit of variety in this explosion. And it didn't look wrong or anything when it flipped, so that's kind of what I was looking for, just if the chunks on the bottom right did it look wrong. No worse than the other times. So well, I'm cool with that. And as I said, we can follow these pieces of debris for 27 hours. So flames coming out of it. What I can do is add void part. No. But let me show you a thing. Super Tim, since you are in the chat there. Right, so when you said flames, okay, you mean gushes of fire, or just kind of this sort of thing? It's the smoke venting from it, like atmosphere and gases venting, rather than constantly burning fire. Because there's a lot. We're going for realism in a lot of senses, in a lot of places, not fully across the board, but flames will be burnt out really quickly. Like, as an explosion happens, there would be fire, because if the rooms inside contained oxygen, then you can have a fire, but there's no replenishing oxygen, so it's going to just burn out instantly enough, and there will be no more fire to the explosion. But you could justify having a bit of gases here for a while, depending, depending if you had compressed air sort of coming out and becoming icy, or whatever. Not that I've actually put a time limit on this smoke stuff here, but particle damage smoke. So I want to, I guess I'm going to put on 2 of those. Can I spawn those? I'm trying to remember. How do I spawn particle damage smokes? I guess I haven't been spawning them before, but I could now, because let's just see. If now that he's been destroyed, let me just reassign a smoke to him. So he's got a bit of smoke on him. I just stole one of the big ship's smokes and put it on him. Weirdly, kind of going on and off. It's not on and off, it's going under and over. Why that is happening, since it doesn't seem to happen on the other thing. But it does look better, again. Basically, having smoke on it's gonna look better. Be a way that I can add smoke with existing code. So I do have a reference to some smoke, so let's instantiate that smoke that I've already referenced in the tool script for. Prefab. object smoke that. Use smoke dot transform dot set parent equals this transform. Oh no, so you have to like, that's how you set it to this. Use smoke dot transform dot local position equals v3 vector3 dot 0. That just makes it a child of this object and puts it right here, like right in the middle. Yeah, that looks, no. What I was doing there. Use smoke, transform, set parent, transform. Should be okay. So now it should have its own smoke. Why not make flames come out of the ship? Oh, sorry, that's the last thing you said, not a new thing. Where is the flames? Did they happen? They did, but they're off. I think they come in as off by default. I'll have to turn them on. Still getting that stutter though. Get rid of the big ship, I don't need it. Use smoke dot set active true. Instead of, I want to raise it up a little bit instead of being 0, 0, 0. Vector 3.0 means 0, 0, 0. I just want it to be 0, 0, minus 0.1 f. Sure, it's a little above ship. Still doing that thing. Why is it doing that? Look at it in the scene view. Second, unmaximize. Everything looks weird in this view because catch up with it a bit. Still kind of happening. Just sometimes the particles are below the ship. It's emitting in a sphere. I think if it was a circle, it'd be fine. Shape. Oh, it is a circle. Oh, right, yeah. It's like a Schrodinger's cat. I'm changing it by viewing it. When I view it in this weird 3D mode, it's always aligning with my view. And if it's coming out in a circle, why should it ever go beneath? Here's the thing. I see it. Actually, a radar signature for it. It's just gray now. Gold. Here it is. What happened to the smoke? Is it entirely gone? Fully stop. Okay, not too sure what's going on right now. Might have had a timeout, actually. It might make sense. Because I was looking at it for quite a while. What is the sorting order on that? Billboard, sort mode, none. You have to sort by distance. Solution. I'm changing the prefab, so that'll change every instance of it that comes into the scene. It's still doing it. No. Oldest in front, youngest in front. That's not really a solution. A little bit, like the smoke makes it look better, except for the glitchiness of the look. Super Tim, anyway, what do you think of it being smoke instead of flames? Have flames as well. Fire, like something as small as a shuttle there, won't hold a whole lot of oxygen, so the amount of fire that we do have coming off it seems like enough. And the husk should just kind of remain like it's leaking fuel or leaking gases, but not really any more oxygen after it's burnt off. I don't know, overall it's looking pretty good though. I'm just kind of annoyed by the smoke sorting order at the moment. Things should all be okay. Everything is. We're using Z depth sorting anyway. But since it's coming out in a circle shape, yeah. Randomize the direction. One is the max. What I want. The thing I've changed now is emit from the edge, but ooh, quite glitchy. Doesn't really change with distance from the center of the screen, which it might have done, but it seems to be behaving with the Z depth sorting. It's a new addition from Unity 5.6 that we put in a couple of weeks ago. Try something a little different. On my health, I also have a smoke kind of thing that comes on if my health is low. So if my health is suddenly gone from 6 down to 1, I'll be trailing smoke. And how does that look? Fine. So glitchy, it doesn't really freak out and go below the ship. But if I was just sitting still like the other thing, I destroy this. I probably can't actually destroy the flames. I want to stop. I'm kind of mixing flames and smoke. Let me just say max particles is 0 on the flames. So I'm getting only smoke on this. It's the exact same particle that I've spawned. Same particle system. And look how different it looks. Didn't mean to die there, actually. I was kind of looking at the other. Super Tim just watched the trailer and says the game looked mind-blowing. I'm glad your mind is blown. Thanks very much. That's nice to hear. I hope it lives up to your expectations when it's out, but you can play the demo for now if you want to. Basically, if you don't like the feel of the ship in the demo, you probably won't like the game, even though it will have a cool strategy layer and stuff. But if you like how different the dogfighting is in the demo to other games, keep an eye on this, I guess, is what I'm saying. But you can tell straight away, basically, if it's a game for you or not, if you like the current demo. And I'm not afraid about giving it away or anything, because it's not a story mission, and it's not kind of a sample flavor mission. I don't know why the smoke is being weird. Really can't tell, because it's spawning the same smoke as the player spawns. It's bringing it from the exact same place. So my health fighter. See if there's anything I was doing with the code on it. Rate over time. Yeah, there's nothing weird I'm doing with the player's smoke that should make it appear different to the shuttle smoke. It's over my expectations. It looks like my kind of game. Great. Perfect. I'm glad it's I'm glad there are people out there who want this kind of game. Tell your friends. I have one last idea here. My smoke is at a height of minus. Let me just try put this smoke at minus 0.2. So it's pretty much the exact same type of smoke. Oh, you know what? Might have just figured it out. Smoke again. The radius 0.3. Should be in a circle though, so should only be not up or down, just around this central point. But its direction. No, I didn't really figure it out. I thought I had it there that if it was 0.1 up, but spawning within 0.3, then 2/3 of the time it would kind of be below. Made it look more glitchy than it was, but where's that random point as well? There. I use the random point again. Yeah. I just want to spawn the smoke where the debris blows off from. Might help it look a bit better. I don't think this smoke is the smoke I want for this job. Kind of tailored to be part of the fighter. While the fighter moves fast, then if you want a trail of smoke, you gotta kind of spawn a lot of smoke particles, but it looks a bit too fast for the shuttle. Could just adjust the rate though. Health fighter. No, that's hard-coded stuff. I don't want to do more of that. I do want smoke, but it's not looking fantastic. We could just set a new... We could just make this, specifically the fighters smoke and make sort of a different type of smoke for dead. In fact, I will do that. Rename that if it's for fighters. Also for fighters, incidentally, then. We're nearly done, we're just finishing up. So I want smoke that's more like what's on the destroyed ship we had earlier. That is remarkably similar. Slow down the emission rate. Speed up the lifetime. Bubbles now. Looks too much like bubbles now. That's not what I want. Why can't I have what I want? Is the game going to be free? No. How would I make any money then? I need to eat. I have bills to pay. It'll be... Like, it won't be free to play. It's a single player game, so it's just going to be a... flat fee kind of a game rather than subscription or free to play or anything like that. It will be $15 or $20, I reckon. But publishers, we're looking for a publisher at the moment. If we sign with one, they would have probably ideas about what price point they want to set it at. I would say $15 to $20. Maybe give some free DLC later or $5 DLC. If we do DLC. Like, and wouldn't be DLC, like... It would be like, if the game sells well, if people are liking it, then we'll decide to add a few units and missions. So it's like an expansion pack in the classic sense of the word, rather than, hey, we finished the game and we're selling parts of it for extra. No, you can get everything that's there for everything that's there on release. You can have, and likely a few updates and bug fixes, and probably a few new features within them for free. But if we're like, yeah, we could use more content for this because people are liking it, then there might be additional stuff. But no, I wouldn't make games for free. Like, you can't make full games for free. Someone has to pay for them. If it's free for the consumer, it means the developers were paid by, like, Oculus. Some of the free games on Oculus or Vive. It's not that the developers weren't paid, because it takes time and money and skills to create those games, but it's like Oculus or Valve pay the developer studios and they say, hey, here's the money you would need to develop this and that you might hope to profit from. We just want to make sure that there are enough games on our Vive that people actually buy it, and because they're interested in it, we want to make sure that there are at least some games that we're investing in starting it. So that's when you can get free games, but essentially the developers are still paid by somebody. So free games don't work unless there's ads, and you don't put ads in a single-player PC game. I can't imagine what that would look like. Yeah, I'm just basically shooting asteroids while sort of half looking at the smoke, just trying to see, does it feel wrong to me? And I'm also talking about free stuff. I don't know, that's smoke as it is right now. That feels kind of okay. Try again with where it's got a bit of a spin on it, because the shuttle wasn't really spinning last time. I think the shuttle is still a bit too bright. Like, it looks as healthy as you do, except for the fact that it's in chunks, but it doesn't look like burnt metal. Darken that up a bit, but oh, I can blow it up to times. Actually, that might be a thing. If this husk were to crash into an asteroid, should it just go and disappear? That might be pretty cool. Like here. Whoa. Be gone. That would be pretty cool. I'm not sure how many times exactly. Like 3? Maybe a bit more. Try that again. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if that were fully gone, like, there's enough explosions there to mask that it disappears. Maybe 5 explosions. I think that'd be good. That if the husk actually hit an asteroid, I think I really want to try that. Let me write that down for what we're doing next time. In future, Shuttle husk destroyed by asteroids with 5 explosions. That could be fun. The other thing I want to do is there a next time thing? Last time, since last time, today, in future. Okay. So next time I want to run on the other thing I said I might do today, I've closed it now, was a name generation system. I want to have like alien names that are sort of randomly generated, a bit like the orcs in Shadow of Mordor, where they go like, oh, Rog, nah, apostrophe, Al, or Kel, or whatever. Just the little short, rough syllables that create names when you put them together. It's something quick and easy to do that I kind of want under the hood, so that when an enemy fighter talks, I can have a name, or when they're captured and stuff. No particularly need that I need to do it soon. But yeah, I might just finish the shuttle and then, as in, let the husk be destroyed if it hits asteroids. I think that would really just add something. Although I should test if that amount of extra particles, all that extra debris floating around, if that's a problem. Shouldn't be too bad. We have this huge asteroid field with hundreds of asteroids in it. It's only one particle system, but this would only be like 5 particle systems of way less objects, so it might not be too bad. Should try that. Super Tim says, yeah, do that. I thought I'd lost him there where he said, is this game going to be free? I'm like, no, I'm really glad you really liked the look of the game, but it's going to have to cost money. And I thought, I was half like, oh, probably lost him now. He likes the game, but only if it's free. Something that is given has no value. What's that from? Starship Troopers. Love that movie. I'm extra happy that that quote came to mind. Starship Troopers is kind of like a tonal influence on this. It's not. We're not going for satire or anything, but there'd be a good deal of crossover in certain themes of the human military and stuff. So it's actually very appropriate that Michael Ironside's character says rap check when he's a teacher, not when he's a lieutenant, says something that is given has no value. So if I were to give you the game for free, you wouldn't appreciate it. And also, I could never make a sequel because I wouldn't have any money. Sequel or expansion or bug fixes or anything. It's got to be money. But anyway, sorry, Super Tim wasn't like that because he says it looks like it's worth it, and he says, yeah, do that, charge for whatever I described. So I've got a fan. I got a fan that I didn't lose by trying to charge money. Not that I'm trying to charge you money yet. Not ready yet. There's pre-orders on the site, actually, just like €5 pre-orders. On my site, like not on Steam. So if you feel like paying no money for it, but like not really trying to push that because not that the game, might not come out. Well, I guess if I get hit by a car, this game doesn't come out, So, and also there's no refund system if I get hit by a car because I'm the only one with the passwords. Whereas if you pre-ordered on Steam and it didn't come out, you get a refund. But just so you know, that's there. It's effectively like early access pricing, but we're not really planning on doing early access. There's going to be some RPG elements in it, he asks. Elements. There'd be, I don't know if you know the new Xcoms, but an element of progression, like skill progression for pilots, and for your squad, and like weapons and new research. So in the sense that RPGs characters level up, that's kind of there, but also that's just kind of modern progression systems, and either depends how you look at it. In terms of RPG, like story, like choices, planning to have an amount of them. Certain situations where you could go do A or do B, and not that they'd be so much like here's 2 different endings, but more like it's kind of a systems-driven game, so it would be the choice you make would sort of affect you in the next few missions rather than carry through to the end. It would kind of be more an immediate kind of a choice. Maybe not one that you figure out straight away on the next mission, but certainly quick enough. Yeah, there's RPG elements, but it's not huge on narrative, it's not huge on dialogue, but there's certainly narrative flavor enough. Like if you play the demo, you should kind of get the idea of there's about this much dialogue at any given time. It's more about gameplay and systems, but there's a bit of story to pull you through kind of way. And in the demo, there's no choices. Yeah, there's no choices other than what happens to the first enemy. You can either kill the first enemy or let him retreat, or either kill him outright or sort of chase him and he escapes, or chase him and you kill him on the chase. And 3 kind of different outcomes for the middle of the mission, but it ends up the same anyway. So each time you ask a 1-line question, I give you a 2-minute answer. We're at about 2 hours here. We're a bit under because I started about 7 minutes late, I guess. We're at 1:53. Yeah, Super Tim again as in kill him and don't get that quest. It's not going to be so much like open world questy. It's kind of like after a mission, you go back to your space aircraft carrier, and you have a briefing screen with, a choice of the next 2 or 3 missions. But yeah, it would be like, say this shuttle was a civilian shuttle here, and if you can rescue it, you'll get intel that leads you to another base. Whereas if you fail to rescue it and he dies, or if you kill an enemy fighter pilot instead of capturing him with a rescue shuttle, you'd get intel and new missions from living people, and if they're dead, dead men tell no tales, kind of. But then if they're dead, it's not that you get stuck. You have to find your intel in other ways. I'm not sure how many bespoke quests there would be, because we're aiming to make it more systems driven, and for every kind of story mission, I have to craft that. Craft it slow and painstakingly. The demo level took about 2 weeks to craft, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, because I had to build some new. I could probably churn out a new demo level if I didn't, excluding having writer's block. I could put out a new level like the demo. Obviously, we'd have more systems in place. It was a bit limited because we're limited to just fighters and 1 big ship type, so it was a bit limited. We don't even have the shuttle in the demo. But I could put out a new level like that, like 1 a week. But if I were to have like a 50 mission campaign, that would take a whole year. So we're going for systems driven stuff, and any narrative would be just sort of seeded through the campaign, story text, flavor text, without going all Fallout 4 on it. So anyway, we're about at time. Super Tim, thanks very much for coming along for the first time and having a good chat. It's nice talking to you. I do this every Monday at 3 p.m. Irish time. Where are you in the world, actually? And 8 p.m. on Thursdays. That's Irish time, UK time, Greenwich Mean Time, TC, whatever way you want to think of that. Yeah, the demo is up there on the site. It'll be there for the foreseeable future. It won't. New systems and stuff tend to go into the demo, but it won't be changing too terribly much until there's like a whole new demo, which may or may not. Like, it should include the strategy layer, but might not make that available to everyone. Might. It depends on if you have a publisher and they say, no, hide thing. Other publishers are like, yeah, show everyone, get feedback. So, we'll see. But for now, it's there. Oh, you're in Britain. Okay. Or Brit Ian. Typo there. So yeah, we're on the same time. So I'll be on every Thursday 8 to 10 and every Monday at 3 to 5. That's my times. The playlists go on YouTube. And I'm waffling enough. So next time we'll destroy that shuttle a bit more, probably, and I think the other thing we'll do is make a name generation system. Unless something urgent comes along that needs to be done sooner. But I don't think that'll be the case. So I think this time I'll probably stick to doing what I'm now saying I will do. Anyway, yeah, been a pleasure. See you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Bye.